So, looks like the opening of the month, Sag, starts you off with Seven of Cups in reverse. So what it's telling me about that is that there's some range of options before you, and you're not actually seeing them for what they are. In other words, things are not them presenting themselves to you in a upright way. Seven of Cups represents our heart's desires, and it represents options that we're considering, things that we want. Sometimes this card is called infatuation, or sometimes this card is called dissolution. It shows a range of options that, the cups represent hearts, so it's all the different things that our heart could want, but it's surrounded in this misty Neptunian fog. So when it's in the reverse position, it's saying things are not what they seem to be. What's behind, the door or the curtain, it may not be what it presents itself to be. So what I say with this card, even if it's in the upright position, I say to be careful about not looking at things through rose-colored glasses and just seeing what you want to see, because there's a lot of fantasy also conjoined in this card. And in this position, it's even more so in some ways, where it's like, do your research, check out that things are actually presenting themselves to you as what they are. Check out that it actually is what it presents itself to be. That's the number one. And be careful that you're not falling into fantasy or seeing things through rose-colored glasses here. Because you do have an opportunity to be fulfilled and be satisfied. If you don't, what I'm getting with these two cards together, Sag, is that if you don't buy into the shiny, rose-colored thing, you have potential to be really satisfied. Don't just go for the shiny thing or the low-hanging fruit, the first thing that looks appealing. Try to make a good decision. And evaluate your options, and then you have potential to be very satisfied towards the beginning of June here. So that's Nine of Cups. This card means satisfaction. It means a wish fulfillment. It means, 9 cups all filled. This is all sort of like showing your banquet or your bounty. So it means feeling absolutely fulfilled and satisfied. So take time with your decisions towards the beginning of June, or especially with attractive options. Look through the fog and see things for what they really are, and then you have an opportunity to be really satisfied. I'm reading this as you, Sag. This is Queen of Rods, which is Queen of Fire, and basically it means someone who's a master of fire. And she's usually really has a sunny disposition. Sagittarius, you're known for that. You have this optimistic, happy-go-lucky, pretty thick-skinned, love to laugh, and you can just let things sort of roll off your shoulders. And that's how Queen of Rods is. She's got a good sense of humor. She's witty. She's confident. She's sunny. We see the sunflower blooming here. So I'm showing not only you as the highest version of yourself, as Master of Fire, as Queen of Rods, but also as being satisfied with this Nine of Cups energy. But you're going to have to get through getting over any little infatuations, little shiny things, little rose-colored glasses stuff. Get over the fantasy world, or seeing things as you want to see them versus how they are. That's a big Seven of Cups in reverse message. And then also towards the first part of June, there's going to be something that you're going to have to let go of. You may come to some realizations in being this higher part of yourself. There are some old belief systems that are coming to a close, and that it's time to let go of. Swords represent the mental element. They represent ideas, thoughts, knowledge, and in Ten of Swords, I always call that a belief system, because it's all these ideas. And you can see they're actually killing the person. It's actually stopping him in his tracks. There's no future progress with this belief system. There's no future life. It's just stagnant. It's dead and old. And this card is often called bottoming out. And whenever this card comes up, 10 of Swords, it means the end of a cycle of something. And I often relate it to the end of a belief system. So I think through achieving this satisfaction, getting through these clouds, being satisfied and saying, wow, I'm really shining and radiant. I'm really like my Sag self. It's going to harken the end of some sort of belief system. I feel like this is a shedding of a skin for you, Sag. Like you come to a realization and you're shedding a skin, and the old beliefs that you used to have no longer apply. You're incorporating a new belief system, or letting this one go, that is actually causing you to have a lot of freedom and optimism. It's kind of like when you throw off, if you've been carrying sandbags around, or beliefs that are hurting you, or draining your energy, draining your life force. That's what this blood represents. When you cast those off, it's like letting go of sandbags. It makes you feel free and airy and light and carefree and trusting. And that's what this card is about. And open. This is a card about openness, about trust, about faith, about beginning a new adventure at zero, where all things are possible. So what I like about Queen of Wands showing up for you, Sag, and then also Fool, is that this is a level of mastery. This is recognition of letting this old belief system go. And then you kind of get this new youthful kick to you, which is very Sag anyway. I mean, you guys are very enthusiastic. You guys are very just fiery and alive. So when Fool is showing up, it's like, oh my gosh, I threw away all those old beliefs that were limiting me, draining me of my life force. Now I just feel like I can tackle the world. The world's my oyster. It's got a lot of adventure to it, and trust and faith. So it's a really fun card to show up for you, Sag. You guys are the explorer anyway. Sagittarius has explorer energy to it. And this is all about like travels, new adventures, being open, trusting, having faith. So, and this card is really about, I think I said it, but being carefree and feeling like you don't have a care in the world. So enjoy that. And a certain amount of innocence too. That's what all this white, the white rose, the white dog, the white undergarment, that's what all that's about. I'm also going to say, you don't, especially towards the middle of the month, don't worry about like fitting in with tradition. Don't worry about social mores or expectations. Hierophant is all about doing what society tells us to do, falling in line with our roles that are given by society or the church or spirituality, or the structures that we receive within Emperor, which is the card right before this one. Hierophant is about enforcing those rules and having dogma, he's connected spiritually, but he likes to maintain the status quo and is all about tradition. So with Hierophant in reverse, it's saying, you know what, you get to buck tradition. Whatever used to be the way, or what your beliefs were about how you had to operate, you're Fool now. You get to break free of all that. You get to kind of laugh at all that. This is very serious. It's very saying, you have to wear this hat, you have to behave this way, formalities, traditions, manners, etiquette, all that, diplomacy. Fool is just like, hey, I'm just playing. I'm just like a kid again. I'm just laughing and playing and doing whatever I please. So it seems kind of like a fun time for you in the middle of June, Sag. And then I do see there's 2 Wands cards here, which are in reverse, which are fire elements, which is your ruling element here. So now these are 2 very different characters. One is Page of Wands, Page of Fire, which is all about willingness, optimism, willing to try something out. Page considers it. Wands means activity, vitality, action, passion, life force. So with Page here holding it up, normally in the upright position, it means motivation, optimism, willingness, openness. In the reverse position, it's saying there's something that you're fearful or doubtful about attempting. And Page is a novice, so Page is trying something out. So there is a way in which you may have some fear or doubt about becoming a novice at something, trying something out for the first time. It's funny because you're in a place where old traditions aren't working. You get to buck the system. That's not happening for you. But also starting anew with something is a little bit frightening for you. And I get the sense too that you're afraid or have some doubt or fear about whether you're going to survive this. This is 9 of Wands, which is the survivor card. This guy gets knocked down repeatedly, but he keeps getting back up. And I call this my Cool Hand Luke card because he keeps getting knocked down and gets back up. So when I think of this card, I think of fall down 7 times, stand up 8, because it's an old Buddhist saying, and it means, like, regardless of what sufferings you have to go through or what travails you go through, you always recover and you get back up. Like, so it doesn't matter. But within the reverse position, it's saying, gosh, there's some fear or doubt about whether I'll survive. So you try to connect with this energy of Fool, Sag, especially mid-June, because you're going to be kind of not fighting, but really casting off all this stuff. Fears about fulfilling your role of what you're supposed to do. Fears about becoming a novice again, or fears about surviving. This Fool transcends all that. He's not weighed down by all of that. He casts it off. He's lighthearted. So, and that's a really good archetype for you guys, Sag. Just hold on to that and see if you can identify ways in which you might have to let go of what has been expected of you. Let go of fears or doubts about being a new, fresh, young person attempting something new that's not familiar to you. And then, or not being the expert. The page is not an expert. And this says, oh gosh, I don't know if I can handle not being the expert, not being the authority. You know, am I willing to be open to being a novice? And then this one says, you know, I have some fears or doubts about whether I'm going to be a survivor, whether I can handle it, whether if I get knocked down, whether I'm going to be able to get back up again or not. So employ the lightheartedness and openness and trust and faith of Fool in the middle of the month to get you through all that, Sag. And then towards the end of the month, you have an interesting mix of fire elements, and then getting through some powerlessness and release of your victim mentality, and then ending up with an opportunity to have your heart really fulfilled in a new beginning. So with these two cards, this card, 7 of Wands, is about standing up for what you believe in. This is, sometimes this card is called struggle. And sometimes I often call this card success despite adversity. And one of the things about this card is that he's in an advantageous position. He's on the top of the mountain, fending people off. So he's either leading all these people or he's fighting them. In the reverse position, it tells me that you may be having a hard time seeing how you are in an advantageous position. Either that, or you may be having a hard time standing up for what you believe in and being assertive. That's what 7 of Clubs in the reverse means. But 5 of Wands tells me that there's like a little bit of competition going on. This is open warfare. This is, and sometimes I call this card playing versus fighting. So there can be a sort of fun element to this card, as we see in competition or sports, even though it's like mock war. You know, it could be serious competition, or it could just be playfulness. So what's going on in both of these cards is struggle or challenge, or, you know, people with different, people fighting for something. In this case, competition. In this case, standing up for what you believe in. And this is saying you may have a hard time standing up for what you believe in, or realizing that you have an advantageous position in the fight. So there's some like I would say with these two cards coming up, be willing at the end of the month to throw your hat in the ring. Be willing to compete. Be willing to fight. Be willing to show up for yourself and fight for yourself, because you are in an advantageous position, even if you don't think you are. I would say there's a lot of negotiating power right here. You know, this is competition. This is sometimes when this card shows up with around cups cards, it's like people fighting over a heart. It's like romantic competition. That's not what's happening here. But what I want to emphasize is that there's a certain amount of playfulness that can be employed with this. And I want you to recognize your advantage in the situation, because there will be some fighting, some standing up for what you believe in, maybe some competing, but you have an advantageous position there at the end of the month, Sag. And then once you get past your feelings of victimhood, that can show up here too. If you feel like, oh my gosh, there's just so much open conflict, there's so much warfare, I don't believe in that I can assert what I believe in or what I stand for, that puts you in victim mentalities. Eight of Swords is feeling powerlessness, feeling victimized, feeling like you're surrounded. But again, it's just your thoughts and your beliefs that are doing that. This card, Eight of Swords, is kind of like Ten of Swords in that it's the thoughts that are draining your power. This one is that she can't even see that she's free because she believes, oh yeah, I'm surrounded, I'm captured, that's it for me. I can't move. However, she could easily walk away from these swords. She could lean up against one of these, cut those binds, and walk away. She's actually free. It's just her beliefs about her being captive that are holding her there. So that's what's going. I think there may be some element, Sag, for you thinking that you're not in an advantageous position, and that if you do fight for yourself, if you do challenge what's going on, compete, stand up for yourself, there may be some fear or doubt about ending up as the victim, as the one who's powerless. But I'm going to encourage you to see that that's not true. Or that it's only true if you believe it, that your beliefs are what's encroaching upon you. And then at the very end of June, Sag, you've got Ace of Cups. Now this is a new beginning. You can just see in the imagery of the card, it's my cup overfloweth, my cup runneth over. It's emotional fulfillment. Again, cups represent the heart element and emotions. So it's like your heart being so filled that it flows over. And aces are new beginnings. So this is the dove of peace that lands when your heart is filled. It's a new beginning. It's the universe trying to hand you something that you love. It's basically joy, creativity, love, passion, all of that stuff that fills your heart. And that's available to you at the end of the month. Once you get through fighting for what you believe in and getting past that fear about ending up in a powerless position. Once you release yourself from this Eight of Swords energy, you end up here at Ace of Cups, which is beautiful. And it's totally available to you.